Chandler. Let's hear it for Tara. All right, boys, it's getting a little warm. We got one more speech before we get marching, okay? Up next, we have Chandler. He is a local activist. He is a democratic socialist, and he has been out front of ICE assisting our community members who are out there protesting. He has been arrested himself defending our friends and neighbors. So I am proud of him, and I am happy to have him come up and speak for us. Let's hear it for Chandler.
Thank you. I'd like to tell you a short story. This story is called The Business Plot of 1933, and I encourage you to look this up yourself to verify my words. You see, in 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected President of the United States of America. He ran on a platform called the New Deal, and although the FDR administration had its own problems, that's a whole other story. The New Deal's basic premise was to tax the rich, break up monopolies, and uplift the working class through social works projects and strong social safety nets. It was essentially American social democracy, and it was extremely effective. It lifted us out of the Great Depression and made us the first global superpower, right? However, as you can guess, the economic elites, they didn't like that idea very much. So, and this is the part that's difficult to believe, all these rich people, all these CEOs, these Wall Street executives, things like that, right? They got together with their friends and they decided to orchestrate a military coup of the United States government, end American democracy, and install a fascist dictatorship. The only reason that we found out about this ahead of time is because they asked United States Marine Corps Major General Smedley Butler to be their fascist dictator. Bad move for anyone who knows who he was. So he gathered his evidence and he testified before the House of Representatives. And at first they did not believe him. So they organized a committee to do an investigation, I should say. And they found his claims to be true. So what do you think happened to these corporate fascists after their attempt to overthrow the United States government? We gave them more money, basically, right? No, they were taxed under the New Deal. They were taken down a peg, but directly, nothing. Nothing happened to them. Of course, right? Of course. What else would happen, right? They're rich people. They're above the law. They have always been above the law. Everybody knows that. It's obvious, right? Now, what do you think they did after their plan was foiled and they weren't punished? Do you think they gave up? Yeah, clearly not, right? A familiar situation, if nothing else, right? Among the co-conspirators of the business plot, their liaison with the Nazi Party, the German Nazi Party, right, was an individual by the name of Prescott Bush, father of George H.W. Bush, grandfather of former President George W. Bush Jr. And it wasn't just the Republicans, mind you. Among the list of co-conspirators, there are many names tied to the Democratic politicians and to corporate elites still here today with us, right? So, do you think they gave up? No, obviously not, right? They didn't just not give up, they succeeded. They switched tactics, right? They played the long game. They boiled the frog in the pot and we hardly noticed. Well, some of us noticed, right? Some of us tried to warn us. Bernie Sanders, he tried to keep warning us over and over and over. But he wasn't loud enough. So here we are today. In 2014, there was a study conducted called Testing Theories on American Politics. It's Gillens and Page, 2014, if you want to look it up. I'll just tell you the conclusion now. Multivariate analysis indicates that economic elites and corporate lobbyist groups have substantial independent impact on U.S. government policy, while average citizens and mass-based lobbyist groups have little or no independent influence. The results provide substantial support for theories of economic elite domination, but not for theories of majoritarian electoral democracy. In other words, they, the rich people, always get what they want, and we never get what we want. It doesn't matter who gets elected. Corporate fascists have taken over our country and dismantled our democracy from within. This is the inevitable result of pretending that there is any meaningful difference between economic power and political power. This much is obvious. Democracy has not survived capitalism. All attempts to regulate capitalism can only serve as speed bumps on the road to economic elite domination. There is literally no possible way to prevent the rich from abusing their power. It will absolutely happen. They are above the law. They are above the regulations that we attempt to place on them. There is no way to regulate rich people. They will always subvert democracy and destroy and dismantle our democracy. They will always disenfranchise us. They don't care about us. They hate you. Rich people cannot be allowed to exist. That's just the reality that is before us. Capitalism is ultimately just feudalism with extra steps. CEOs ruling like nobility. Workers being exploited like peasants, like slaves. If you want democracy, you must reject capitalism. This is a historical fact which we are currently experiencing at this very moment. You must overcome a lifetime of capitalist propaganda. The rich own the media. What else would you expect from them than an overwhelming amount of capitalist propaganda? We cannot waste more time. We only have 30 to 50 years until total global ecological collapse. I will repeat, we only have 30 to 50 years until total global ecological collapse. We cannot allow capitalism to continue. Literally and physically, our planet is dying because of their greed. You must stand up. You must literally save this planet. And everyone on it, from these delusional, God-complex-afflicted narcissists. And now artificial intelligence is perfectly poised to destroy our wage slavery labor economy. You will soon fully understand the cruel reality of why it is called wage slavery. We are expendable to them. They think of us as useless feeders, useless mouths, right? They hate you. Do not give in to despair. You are not powerless, you are not alone. Don't believe their gaslighting. It's often said that it's easier to imagine the end of capitalism than it is. It's often said that it's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism. But it's important to remember that to the peasants of medieval Europe, the divine right of kings to rule must have seemed absolute, natural, and inevitable. It must have seemed like human nature. The hydra of tyranny has many heads, but the heart is and has always been the ruling elite. It has always been rich people. We have only one enemy. Whether you're liberal or conservative, immigrant, indigenous, colonizer, colonized, black, white, brown, gay, straight, trans, cis, it is all the same. We share a single common enemy. We have only ever had one common enemy. We will never defeat every head of this hydra. We must unite against its heart. A tiny handful of corporate elites owns 99% of the wealth in this country, while we own basically nothing, relatively speaking, right? That is 99% of the power in this country, right? The ruling elite own our industry, our land, our natural resources, our housing, and all of the essential goods and services we need to live. They own the very hours of your life. They alone determine what you can and can't afford. They steal all of the wealth you create and then gaslight you into believing that it's them who is paying you when in fact they are merely leeching off of you by stealing your labor. They literally, physically, and materially own our country as their private property. There is no point in claiming that the purpose of a system is to do what it constantly fails to do. The purpose of a system is what it does. Capitalism destroys democracy. The economy cannot be separated from politics. This much is obvious. A democratic government requires a democratic economy, free from economic tyrants, free from a ruling class of economic or political elites. Do not give up. A better world is possible. You don't need to give up. Choose democracy. Choose freedom. Free yourself from our shared enslavement. Choose liberty and happiness for all. You are a democratic socialist. You already believe in all of the core values of democratic socialism. You have just been gaslighted into believing that it is something other than what it really is. You have been gaslit into believing that capitalism can somehow provide for you, that trickle-down economics will somehow provide for you instead of constantly and infinitely accumulating wealth and power into the hands of a tiny handful of psychopaths. Democratic socialism is the tangible reality of that very same beautiful dream of an equal opportunity democracy which the ruling class indoctrinates us with, hoping to subdue and placate us. But the lie is too beautiful and too easy to achieve. You have socialists in office all across this country creating real change and fighting back against corporate fascism. In this city alone, we have 4 socialists in office, and we have all seen Mamdani winning in New York at this moment. Join the fight. Do not tolerate fascism. You must defend democracy. A better world is possible. You can make it happen. You just need to wake up and fight. Join the DSA. Stop waiting for a hero. Heroes exist to inspire us to remember history. But history isn't made by heroes. It has always been normal people in desperate times that have been the driving force of history. Times have never been more desperate. Stand up, fight back, fight for democracy. Now, one last time. Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what